Hello friends and welcome back to our YouTube channel. As I promised that we are going to provide you with the entire crash course for class 11th maths. This is the second video session that we are going to have. First one, we gave our video on sequence and series. If you haven't watched that, please go and watch that. Now, today let us start with the quadratic equation. That is a part of algebra only. So we are going to start with quadratic equation quickly. What is a quadratic equation? You must have heard of a linear equation, right? If I write anything like this, ax plus b, suppose this is equal to 0. Suppose. Then this is a linear equation. Why is it a linear equation? Because I have got this one variable over here. This is a variable. X and y we consider to be the variables whose values can change. These are the constants. A, B are the constants over here. The value cannot change. So x is a variable here whose value can change, and the power of x is 1. If no power, that means we can write it as 1. So x raised to the power, it is 1. That means the highest power of the variable in this equation is 1. Therefore, it is a linear equation. If I write ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Suppose this is my equation. Then in this, my again a, b and c are my constants, and x is again a variable over here, and in this variable I can see the highest power of this variable is square. This over here is 1, but what is my highest power? That is 2. So because of this highest power of this variable, this equation becomes a quadratic one. Similarly, if I have the highest power as 3, then it becomes a cubic one or biquadratic, and that is, it's going on. This is a quadratic equation. This is general equation. How I write it as y is equal to ax square plus bx plus c. This is my general equation and general way of representing a quadratic equation. This was about the quadratic equation that we have discussed. What is a quadratic equation? Now, after this quadratic equation, we come to the solution of a quadratic equation. What are the solution of a quadratic equation? Basically, solution of any equation means the values of those variables which are present in that equation. So, the value of x from this equation, whatever value I'll get for x, then that is going to be my solution. If you can recall what you have learned in the previous classes, then if I was having a linear equation, then there I'm going to get one answer. If you draw the graph, then it is going to be a straight line. That is one answer I was getting. So if here I was getting one answer, one solution as you can say. But when I'm going to solve a quadratic equation, I'm going to get two answers or two solutions. If I solve a cubic equation, I'm going to get three answers for that. That means whatever be the highest power of the variable in that equation, that many answers or solutions you are going to get. So always whenever it is a quadratic equation, you are going to get two answers for that, and these answers of the value of x, which is a variable over there, these are said to be the solutions of that equation. Is it clear? These are the solutions of that equation. Now generally, in general equation, we represent those solutions as alpha and beta. Most of the times we consider them to be alpha beta, and then it is up to you whatever thing you want them to be. So alpha beta, because two roots you get. Solution means the roots of that quadratic equation. These are alpha and beta that you will get. Now, so after the solution part, we have the nature of roots. Like after this, we first of all let us see how to solve an equation. How to solve a quadratic equation that is given to us. So this is an equation given to us. Now there is a particular formula. Now if you remember in class 9th or even in the previous classes, we must have learned that how do we solve a quadratic equation. Suppose I am provided with any xyz equation, then how do we use to solve that? We first of all used to calculate the product that was coming of the first term. Let me introduce you to this is the first term. This is the first term of this equation. This is the second term, and this is the third term. You please need to remember this general form, because always you're going to get the questions in this form only. So please learn this general form of this equation, that is y is equal to ax square plus bx plus c. Therefore, for when I'm going to have the real values, a real quadratic equation is there, then I can simply solve it by using the formula that is a into c we used to do. That means the product, we have to choose now two numbers whose product comes equal to AC and their sum or difference that comes out to be B. If it is a minus sign, then the difference should be like B it should come, and their product should be A into C. That is how we used to solve in the previous classes. But if suppose in this under root part, whatever thing I am getting, if suppose this under root part is getting something minus, so let's say minus y it is having over here. Now how to bring this out of this root? We are not introduced to the complex numbers. So in order to judge and in order to find out whether that equation is going to have the real roots or the complex roots, we are introduced to a certain formula, and that formula says that the roots of this quadratic equation are going to be minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. This is a general formula that you have to find out the roots of a quadratic equation. That is minus b plus minus under root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. Now, why was I saying that you remember this quadratic equation? Because this is the formula that you need to apply. So until and unless you don't know what is a, b and c in this, how can you apply it? So you need to remember this, and then this is a general formula for it. In this minus b, that means the middle term that is there with a negative sign you have to take. Then plus minus, that means if you can write it like this, minus b plus under root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. And the other root, this is one I can write, and the other root that I am going to get, x2, that is going to be minus b minus times b square minus 4ac and under root upon 2a. These are the two roots of my quadratic equation. One is in plus and the other one is in minus. And as I mentioned earlier, two values I am going to get for x, two solutions, and these are the solutions that I am going to get. Now please see this under root part. So whatever thing is written in this under root, that is known as a discriminant. This is a discriminant. So b square minus 4ac, this is a discriminant. Now please remember, because when we will come to the nature of roots, you need to have this value with you. So b square minus 4ac, which is an under root, this particular value, that is b square minus 4ac, this is known as a discriminant of that equation. These are the roots, how you are going to get them. Okay, now after this we have the nature of roots. That means what kind of roots are we going to get? So there are certain conditions that you will be having. You can keep them in your mind. These are very easy also. And simply by just checking whatever value you are going to get of discriminant, that means if I solve this entire equation, that means if I put x is equal to minus b plus minus the b square minus 4ac upon 2a, then it becomes a lengthy process, And so in order to shorten that, we are having this, that b square minus 4ac, this was my discriminant. Agreeing or not, this was my discriminant. Now, if I check whether the value of this discriminant is coming positive, whether it is coming negative, or whether it is coming 0, then I can get that what kind of nature I am going to have of my roots. Because minus b plus minus root can the b square minus 4ac upon 2a. This is a constant part, this is also a constant part. So this is going to have no effect, but under root value can have an effect. So if this thing, please remember, if this thing, that means b square minus 4ac, I can write d over here. In place of this I can write d, that is a discriminant. So if the discriminant, it comes out to be greater than 0. If this value is coming out greater than 0, what will happen? I can take it out of my root. I can take it out of the square root. If this is coming greater than 0, then this value could be easily taken out of the square root. So then if my discriminant is greater than 0, then my roots are going to be real. First thing, they are going to be real, and second thing, they are going to be irrational. So they are going to be real and irrational. Second thing, if my d comes out to be equal to 0, that means if this is equal to 0, then what will happen? See, this is coming 0, that means under root of 0 will be 0 only. So plus minus thing I am not having only now. So what is left out? Minus b upon 2a. This is a simple thing that is left out, because plus minus 0 I have to do. That is having no impact on my value. So minus b upon 2a. That means both roots are going to be minus b upon 2a. That means I am going to have equal roots. So the roots are going to be real and equal in this case. When I have discriminant is equal to 0, my roots are going to be real and equal. Why? It is simple thing, simple logic. Because this thing is not left only, now it is 0 only. That means I don't have to add or subtract anything from it. That means my simple value is minus b upon 2a. That means both roots are going to have the value as minus b upon 2a. And the third thing is, when my discriminant is going to be less than 0. When my discriminant is going to be less than 0, then in this case what will happen? Less than 0 means negative value. Less than 0 means negative value. That means this is going to be negative. Something negative over here. Can I bring it out of it? No, I won't be able to solve it by the simple methods, and in that case what will happen? My roots will become imaginary or complex. My roots will become imaginary or complex. Imaginary or complex I can write. So this was for the nature of roots. 3 conditions: discriminant greater than 0, roots will be real and irrational, my discriminant is equal to 0, the roots are going to be real and equal, and when I am having discriminant which is less than 0, then my roots are going to be imaginary or complex. So after this nature of roots, now the sum and product is a very easy thing. We don't have to do anything in it. Simply just remembering these two things, general quadratic equation, and the second thing that you have to remember is how to solve a quadratic equation. That means the Sridharacharya formula that I told you earlier, that you have to keep in your mind. Let us see now. Sum and product of roots we are seeing. Sum of roots, that means adding both the roots. Let us see what will happen. One root was minus b plus under root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So can I write it separately? Over here I can write upon 2a. Here also I can write upon 2a. Sum I am calculating. Summation of both the roots. Another root will be, this is one root. Another root will be minus b upon 2a minus times under root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. Since it is addition, I can, even if I open these brackets, will it have any difference? No, my sign and the inside signs won't be changing. Now you can see this is there, plus minus they both getting cancelled, and here minus minus they are going to be added. So I can get minus 2b upon 2a. 2 getting cancelled means minus b upon a. Simple it was. That means when I am going to have the summation of both my roots, my value is going to be minus b upon a. So this you can use, you will get questions based on it. That means summation of both the roots. Let the roots be alpha and beta. Then when alpha and beta are the roots, that means alpha plus beta value is going to be minus b upon a. Alpha plus beta value is minus b upon a. Then another thing is product of my roots. That means minus b upon 2a plus b square minus 4ac multiplied with minus b minus under root of b square minus 4ac upon 2. These were my two roots. Now you can see this is a plus b, this is a, this is b, this is a plus b, and this is a minus b. That means a square minus b square. So a square means minus b upon 2a square minus times b square, that is basically under root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. It's a square. When I am going to solve it, I am going to get b square by 4a square minus times b square minus 4ac. So it will become plus actually over here. This will be 4a square only. So let us just write it like this. b square getting cancelled. So I am left out with minus 4ac. No, it is a plus actually. So plus 4ac upon 4a square. 4 to 4 getting cancelled. A, so that is basically c upon a. So the product of my roots is coming c upon a. So my roots were alpha and beta. Alpha beta product is coming c upon a, and alpha plus beta is coming minus b upon a. You don't have to remember anything in this. Just the two things, basic things that we have to remember, and we derived it here. That is alpha into beta is c upon a, and alpha plus beta is minus b upon a. This was the summation and the product of my roots. After this, we have the formation of our quadratic equation. Now when roots are given to us, actually the roots won't be given to us, or maybe they have given the roots to us and then we have to form a quadratic equation. Then how are we going to form? What we do is, the summation for my roots, the formation of my roots will be like, formation of my equation will be like this. I'll be writing over here, simple it is, ax square as it is, and minus times I'll be writing the summation of my roots. That means alpha plus beta into x, it is there. Okay, and then I'll be having plus alpha into beta, and that is equal to 0. So ax square minus alpha plus beta, minus times, please remember minus sign is there, minus times alpha plus beta, that means summation of both roots into x plus alpha into beta, that means product of both my roots, that is equal to, so this is how we form our equation. So when we are given the values for alpha and beta, or we will be provided with certain condition that these are the values and this is how it is depending on each other, then we will first of all calculate the value for alpha plus beta by simply like we have calculated the value for alpha plus beta and alpha beta, and then place it in this equation, and this is how you get the general equation. That means the equation with the given values. This is how we form a quadratic equation. Now after this we have the conditions for roots. Conditions for roots will be like when I say, they will be provided in the question. The question will be saying to us when the roots are reciprocal. I am not doing anything. We are just going to remember the basic things and we are going to derive our things. Now see, condition for roots, the first condition is the roots are reciprocal. Roots I consider to be alpha and beta. So my roots are reciprocal. What does it mean? That means alpha is going to be equal to 1 upon beta. Will it be? If one root is alpha, let it be one root is alpha and the other root is beta. That means alpha is equal to 1 upon beta, or I can write beta is equal to 1 upon alpha, because that is the condition. The roots are reciprocal of each other. Now in this case, I have seen alpha plus beta is coming this and alpha into beta is coming this. So now in this case, if I write alpha into beta, alpha plus beta, suppose I am writing alpha plus beta, I am writing, that is beta is equal to what? 1 upon alpha. Will it be? That means alpha square plus alpha upon alpha, this is coming equal to minus b upon a. You can solve it, you can get it into the questions. Now the basic thing, the general thing is alpha, here from here you will get the value. That means alpha into beta we write, so alpha into beta, this is equal to what? We know that is equal to c upon a. Alpha getting cancelled. Will they be cancelled? That means when my roots are reciprocal of each other, I can see this thing, when my roots are reciprocal of each other, then from here I can get c is equal to a. So my roots will be reciprocal when c will become equal to a, or in the other way I can say, if my roots are equal, then c will become equal to a, right? And the other condition is, these are for the reciprocal roots, and the other condition is that 0 roots. That means first of all one root will be 0 and then both roots will be 0. Now see, we will see here. First of all, let us consider alpha is equal to 0, and in the other condition let alpha is equal to 0 and also beta is equal to 0. Now when alpha is equal to 0, that means alpha plus beta is equal to what? Minus b upon a. We know this is equal to 0. That means beta entirely is going to be equal to minus b upon a. That means if one root is alpha, that is 0, then other root will be equal to minus b upon a. Minus b upon a will be provided with the equation, and from there you can put the values of b and a, and then you can get the second root, right? Another case, if this is there, then alpha beta we know equal to c upon a. We know this thing. Now alpha into beta is equal to c upon a. Now in this case, if alpha is equal to 0, if this is 0, that means what will happen? That this entire thing will become 0. Will it be alright? Alpha into beta will become 0. That means c upon a will become equal to 0, and that means c will become equal to 0. C upon a will become 0 when c will be equal to 0. So when my roots are there like this, then what will happen? My another root will become equal to minus b upon a, and the c part, that is it will become equal to 0. Okay. Now another case is there when alpha is equal to 0 and beta. That means both of my roots are 0. When both of my roots are 0, that means alpha plus beta is equal to minus b upon a, and this, that means 0 plus 0, that means 0 is equal to minus b upon a, right? So in this case what will happen? If this is 0, that means b will have to be 0. b will have to become equal to 0. In this b is equal to 0, and another thing is that alpha cross beta, that is equal to c upon a. So these both are 0. That means c upon a is equal to 0. That means c is equal to 0. So b will also be equal to 0 and c will also be equal to 0 if both of my roots are 0. This was there. That was for the conditions we were seeing, that is reciprocal roots and the zero roots. Now after this we have the sign of the roots. Sign of the roots we will see. Now what do we mean by the sign of roots? That means they would have given to us in the question, they'll be giving to us, that means the roots are positive or the roots are negative, the roots are reciprocal of, the roots are opposite in sign, or the roots will be equal in magnitude and opposite in sign. Then what will be there? If they are saying that roots are positive, that means my value for alpha plus beta, that is coming what? Positive. What is alpha plus beta? Minus b upon a. That is coming positive. Now can I make out from here, if this value has to come positive, then either b or a will have to be negative. भाई क्योंकि इसके साथ नेगेटिव साइन ऑलरेडी है, दैट मीन्स इस नेगेटिव को कैंसिल करना पड़ेगा हमको, तभी तो जाकर ये पॉजिटिव इसकी वैल्यू आएगी. और इसको नेगेटिव को साइन को कैंसिल कैसे होगा? या तो b या फिर a क्या हो? नेगेटिव हो. दैट मीन्स ईदर b यानी b को नेगेटिव होना पड़ेगा और a will be negative in this case. Then only this is possible that both of my roots will be, that means the roots will be positive. That means the sign of my roots will be positive if they are going to be, you know, one has to be the opposite of other. Like अगर जो a है अगर वो पॉजिटिव हो जाता है तो b को नेगेटिव होना पड़ेगा. तो एक नेगेटिव होगा तो नेगेटिव से नेगेटिव कैंसिल आउट कर देगा, तो अल्फा प्लस बीटा का जो समेशन है वो हमारा पॉजिटिव आ जाएगा. Right, and in this only alpha into beta will also be positive. Now when this is going to be positive, that means alpha into beta is what? C upon a. यहाँ से निकाला था C upon a. C upon a क्या होगा? पॉजिटिव. और ये पॉजिटिव कब होगा? यानी कि C and A दोनों सेम साइन के होंगे. प्लीज रिमेंबर they are going to be of same sign. I am not saying over here that they are both positive. They both will be of the same sign. यानी अगर C पॉजिटिव है तो A भी पॉजिटिव होगा. पॉजिटिव will make positive. If C is negative, then A will also be negative because minus will again make plus. That is there. So this was first thing, that they both are positive. Both roots are the roots are coming to be positive. The summation and the product of them. Second thing is that it is coming negative. That means alpha plus beta is coming negative. Now when will it happen? अगर ये नेगेटिव आना है, that means minus b upon a की वैल्यू क्या होगी? नेगेटिव होगी. ये नेगेटिव कब आ सकती है? जब b और a अब क्या है? सेम साइन के हों. So b and a will have to be of the same sign, either positive or negative. Then this will become negative, and alpha into beta will be negative. When will it be negative? That is c upon a is negative. That means in this case, the same case we are talking about, सेम केस है ये हमारा. इस वाले में सेम केस था जहाँ पे b नेगेटिव था या फिर a नेगेटिव था और a और c सेम साइन के थे. ओके, एंड इस वाले में जब हमारे दोनों जो रूट्स हैं उनका समेशन एंड उनका प्रोडक्ट जो है वो नेगेटिव आ रहा है, एंड देन इन दैट केस व्हाट इज देयर, दैट दिस हैज टू बी नेगेटिव. यानी कि क्या होगा? c एंड a जो है वो ऑपोजिट साइन के होंगे. They will be of opposite signs. Okay, तो B और A जो है वो same sign के होंगे और C and A will be of opposite signs if my roots are going to be positive. Okay, now after this we have the opposite signs. You know, the roots are going to be of opposite sign. This was the same condition when they are of opposite sign. So we have seen that. Now the last condition for this is basically when my roots are going to be equal in magnitude, but they are of opposite sign. So equal in magnitude they are, that means alpha plus beta, as usual I write it as that is equal to minus b upon a. Another thing is alpha into beta is equal to c upon a. They are saying that my roots are equal in magnitude but they are of opposite signs. Okay, so when they are equal in magnitude, that means let us assume that alpha is equal to y. Let us assume this thing. Then so one root will be y, and since beta, that is there is of opposite sign, that means it is minus y, that is equal to minus b upon a. This is coming 0. That means what will happen? B will become equal to 0. And in this case also, when they are of opposite signs, that means one will be y, another one will be minus of y. Multiplying both of them, that is equal to c upon a. This is minus y, so that is coming c upon a. That means these two things, this is there equal to c upon a. That means C and A, they are going to be of opposite signs. Okay, so they are going to be of opposite sign, and this B will become equal to 0, and C and A will be of opposite signs. Okay. So this part that was of the sign of the roots is also done. Now after the sign of roots, we have the common roots. Just the 2-3 topics are left and we are done with the entire chapter. Now after this we have the common roots. Now what do we mean by common roots? Like there will be two conditions in this. Questions will be provided to us in a way. First will be when I have got one common root, and second will be when I have got two common roots. Means both the roots are common. If I have one root in common, then what I am going to do is we consider any one of the roots to be like, you know. So we consider two equations will be given to us actually. Two equations will be provided to us. Then they have said that one root is common to them. That means let that common root be alpha. Another one is beta over here. And second equation will be having alpha, that is common, plus beta dash. Right? This value will be what? Minus b upon c. Okay. So one thing is common and this is going to be, let us consider minus b dash upon c dash. Okay, this is there, and alpha is common, so this way it is there. Excuse me, and the second one is alpha into beta it is, and that is alpha into beta dash, that is equal to what? This is equal to c dash upon a dash, and that is equal to c upon a. Right? Now, if alpha is common, what can I see common in these both equations? B upon c it is there, and this is c upon a. That means c is something that is common to both of them. That means of both, my c is going to be the same. Okay, and these things are going to vary and the c is going to be the same. Okay, so this is how I have, and then I can solve with the help of that discriminant formula that we use to solve our equations with, that we write alpha square upon, we write this simply, like two equations are there, we know that c value is coming, we consider the equations to be like this, let the equations be ax square plus this is bx plus c is equal to 0, and the other value we consider to be a dash x square plus b dash x plus c is equal to 0. Then I am going to solve it like x square it is there, so below it I am going to write what? bc minus b dash c, that is equal to x upon what? This is going to be a dash c minus ax, sorry, not ax actually, a dash c minus ac, and that is equal to this constant part. It is 1 I am going to write, not the constants. 1 I am going to write, and that is equal to a b dash minus a dash b. And from this I can solve two equations I will be getting, and I can solve and get my answer. This is basically that was there for the common roots. When my one root is given in common. When I have both the roots in common, that means both roots in common, that means alpha and beta are there. That means minus b upon c will become equal to minus b dash upon c dash. Both roots are in common, and then c upon a, that will become equal to c dash upon a dash. So like this you can get your answer for that equation where we have got both the roots as common. So these are the both roots common and one root common. After this, sign of quadratic equation, quadratic function, we have already seen this thing. Sign of quadratic function, the same thing. If my discriminant is coming greater than 0, then my roots are going to be real and rational. If I have got discriminant equal to 0, then my roots are going to be real and equal. And then third thing is, if my roots are less, that means not the 0, not the roots, but my discriminant that is there. If it is going to be coming less than 0, then my roots are going to be imaginary or complex. So sign of quadratic function is also done. And now the last thing, moving to the last topic of our chapter, and that is method of intervals. Now what is this method of intervals? This is when you will be solving a quadratic equation, and once you are left out with a certain thing, if you have an inequality sign, when we will talk about the inequality chapter, we will be going deep into it. It is method of intervals. What we have here is actually, when I am going to get an equation of some sort, like when I have a minus x suppose written over here, and I have b minus x over here, and that is less than 0 or greater than 0, whatever, let it be. Okay, then what we do is, we draw a number line. Now in this case, how to know that where my value is going to lie? Can I find it with just with this? No. So what I do is, I put a minus x is equal to 0, that means a becomes equal to x in this. Let this be x minus a and this be x minus b for this case now. Okay, so what I do is, x minus a is equal to 0, that means x is equal to a, like this. That means a is coming what? positive. So what I do, a is coming, x is equal to a. So whatever is, so I write a over here, x is equal to a. Another case was x minus b is equal to 0, putting it equal to 0. Whatever sign we may have here, we are going to put it equal to 0. So x is equal to b in this case. So I put b over here. Accordingly, whichever is greater, if a was greater, then we put it here. If b was coming greater in value, suppose a was 5 and b was 7, then b would have come here on the number line as we represent it. Now after this, we know that this sign is coming greater than. So here I'll have the positive values. How will I have positive values? You see, a is there. If you place any value which is greater than a, suppose it is 5 over here, a is 5 and b is equal to 3. If I put any value which is greater than 5, that means if I put it equal to 7. Suppose if I have 7 in this equation, then 7. So x minus 7 and x minus this. If you see, this is p, that is 3 actually. So it will be, if I put x is equal to 7, so this x is equal to 7, that means 7 minus 7 is 0 and 7 minus 3 is 4. So 4 into 0, that means a positive sign I am going to get. So here I am going to get the positive value. If I place any value which is in between 3 and 5, that suppose it is 4. So if I put 4 minus 5, that is minus value, negative I am going to get from here. And this is 4 minus 3. 4 minus 3 is 1, that is positive value. So positive and minus, that means minus plus is minus. That means if I will take any value which is going to lie in between b and a, that is going to be negative. And similar I can see for this, it will come positive. How come? If I have any value which is less than 3, let us take it to be 2 right now. If I have 2 over here, then 2 minus 5. 2 minus 5 will become what? Minus 3 I am going to get from this side. And this is 2 and minus 3, and 2 minus 3 is minus 1, and minus 3 into minus 1 will become 3, because minus minus is plus, so I get plus 3 here. That means I am going to get positive values this side also. Now my question was saying it is greater than 0. So greater than 0 means positive values. That means from minus till minus infinity it is extending. So minus infinity to 3 not including. This is basically not inclusive one. Open brackets we are placing here. And this union with 5 not included up till plus infinity. This is also not included. That means open bracket. This is going to be my answer. So this was how we solved for the method of intervals. That is, we put it that like this, we place it, then we place this thing equal to 0. Both the roots which are coming equal to 0. I get some value for x, placing that on the number line. After that, seeing from this side, which is coming after my one value, we'll put any value that will see that whether it is coming positive or negative in between both of them and here. And according to the sign which is given to me, I'll solve them and get my answer that is there. This was the method of intervals that we had. So here we wind up with our chapter that was quadratic equations. This is entire for class 11 ISC for the batch 2020-21. That is with the reduced syllabus, because actually if you see, we were having the graphs are also there in it, but since for 2020-2021 we have got that reduced, that means that is not a part of our syllabus now, ISC class 11th. So this was all about that. So at last I would just say that keep watching our channel and stay tuned, stay connected to us, that whatever thing we are getting, you get to know that, and maybe it will help you somehow to get the revision of yours. And so we are providing you with the entire crash course as I mentioned earlier also. So keep watching our videos.